Oh, come on. What you do at the tournament doesn't matter. I'm gonna flame you anyways.
Fine, fine. Whatever, dude.
GKY.
Well, we are into the draft
So,
now.
Beastmaster, there you go.
Yep. Called by Winter,
And they get the Slada. Okay.
approved by MVP.
And no IO.
This is looking much, much better for MVP. Despite being on the Radiant side with the Slada. But this opening I like much better. And with the ban as well on the Beastmaster, if they're not going for it.
You've removed a lot of the heroes that gave MVP problems in the last game, but I think it still comes down to winning lanes.
And OG is very good at winning lanes with Phoenix. So
This was probably what they were worried about from the last game. The team fight, Phoenix FV. But honestly, if you're MVP, because your playstyle is so fast, wouldn't you rather fight against an opponent that has a lineup that plays around cooldowns?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they're weak when you're playing so fast.
Which is why I was also surprised by the DP ban last game. They've shown that they don't care about big team fight ultimates. Just constantly run at them.
Maybe this game banning a DP would be much better since they have the Void Phoenix. Yeah, but from the previous game, definitely DP could have worked really well on their lineup.
they might just venge here as well. Good against Faceless Void, synergizes with Slaughter.
I talked about this in game
leave it one pick.
Slada, when they have Slada, they will have Invoker. MP will play Invoker and they will run safe lane Slada on Cure.
True, and if they let it through, it'll just get banned second round because it combos so well.
It might be also a deny pick because they have Void, they might go for Invoker. So.
Do you know Dubu is in the last 3 months has played 41 times on Witch Doctor. His next best hero at Earth Spirit 18. That's how much they favour that Witch Doctor. After that is the Venge. So it's a fair bet it's going to be one of those two, and I guess that's probably why they put the Invoker in first phase.
Yeah, I like the Witch Doctor or the Venge a lot here for Dubu. It's great counters against the Void. For the Witch Doctor, maybe you get a good cask that disrupts whoever's in the Chronosphere. With the Venge, you can swap out whoever gets focused by the Void.
Do you also think there's a point here with the Void in that because MVP banned it first game, does that not tell OG they're scared of it? Is there like an alternative mentality to this that they go, well, okay,
Probably,
they banned
right.
it against
Yeah,
us, so
yeah,
they're probably scared of it. Well, let's pick it then. Let's throw it at them.
Definitely, it's a little bit of a tell. At this level, I think teams are banning out heroes that they just simply don't want to play
Yeah,
against.
but it's still surprising though because when you talk about MVP, they're fast. So being fast means you're good at playing against teams that rely on cooldown. So that's very weird that they're afraid of playing against a Void.
But maybe they're worried about the lockdown more than anything else.
It's punishing. Like if you don't have something like an IO on your team and somebody hits Chronosphere, they're gonna die. And a fixture of MVP fights is they go in and out, in and out. And usually at low HP.
Beastmaster and Void, I don't know. I just think that Beastmaster just does wait. I'm not saying Void is a bad hero, but Beastmaster is a better hero. Like Beastmaster just provides a lot more for the team.
What about going high ground? Faces Void's way harder there. If MVP goes earlier game, then if they're trying to take a high ground Rax and they just get triple chronoed when they're overdived, then they lose the game, they don't have the late game carries. That could be worse.
But they couldn't get there the last game because Beastmaster did too much in the early game.
Yeah,
and
that's
MVP
true.
was supposed to win.
But
they want to win the early game.
But if they could have done more with the Axe, for example, if it wasn't a Morphling, I think they could have done it with that lineup. It just was difficult.
Yeah, they
Okay,
needed
so
to help him more. I think maybe dual lanes.
There's no Lycan ban here either.
Yeah, but OG, I think when they have Void, it's least likely that they go for...
It has really bad synergy.
Yeah,
with
the
Lycan.
synergy is not so good. So I would say maybe that's what MVP are thinking.
Tinker, maybe?
This is what they did when they opened the drop. It's CM Void. I can't remember which game, but I was watching. It was the previous series.
It was against Navi.
It was against Navi. They opened CM Void, and
then they took an Elder Titan, and then they had
fourth pick.
This Magnus.
Yeah, they had Miracle on the Magnus.
It's a good way to beat good mid players. If you land the Echo Stomp, you can get Skewer off, and you can screw back towards Zero Tower, which more or less guarantees the kill.
Yeah, and then having an Elder Titan sit mid for you and just constantly throw spirits out, it's so annoying to play against.
But this game, I think it's very likely that it's going to be a Quasvex Invoker. It's much more difficult to do that against a Quasvex Invoker because you have much more movement speed. And it's basically harder to gank you because you have the Ghost Walk early as well, Tornado, whatever. So it might not work as well this game.
Why do you assume Quasvex just...
They always do Quasvex when they have the Slada. They very rarely do Exort because they want to play very fast-paced Dota.
Okay, and yeah, it's a lot faster there.
Yeah, Exort is, I mean, it's good versus the Blink Crush, but for the game, like the bigger picture for the system, your system is slower. But when you have the Quasvex Invoker, you fight much earlier because you have the Tornado EMP, which is, I mean, great against the Void, especially. So I think that's what MVP wants to do, and what they recognize that Invoker can be played in this way after all the nerfs that he got for the Exort spells.
So do go for the Venge.
Yeah. Again, great against the swap, saving heroes. If QO or MP get caught out, you do have that ability to get them out of trouble.
It works against Chronosphere, works against Echo Stomp, works against a lot of good things here. And if he swaps himself into Chrono, he'll just reduce the damage of his opponents as well.
Yeah, it's a very stable support. I think what they saw in the last game, hey, we got really far behind in lanes. I think Venge in this case is, you know, if one of their cores gets behind, Venge can, it's sort of a buffer system.
Yeah, I'm thinking whether if they want to go Darks here against the Slardar so you can disrupt his farm, and then you put Void safe lane, and then you have like this wombo combo with the Chrono. But it's primarily to slow down the Slardar's farm in the lane when you have the Iron Shell. And they would maybe do like Elder Titan, Darks here, like dual lanes. Okay, so the Void is most likely confirmed as off lane now.
Yep. So the Sven is for no tail.
Safe lane with the Phoenix.
Do you guys feel like this is too greedy? Especially with like Tide, like they'll just block Ancients. They're gonna move around, they're gonna put a lot of aggression on Sven before he gets major items. Like he can jungle obviously.
If they don't do well in the lanes, it might be too greedy. Like both teams have heroes that utilize Ancients, so like you mentioned, Kevin, Ancients would be very key in this game, whether MVP catches OG when they're doing the Ancients or whether OG catches them when they do the Ancients, because both teams have very big team fight AoE ultimates.
And if Phoenix wins a fight as well, they can take Roche so easily. They have 3 minus armor spells.
But then the EMP would be great as well against the Sven. So all their heroes are actually very vulnerable to Tornado EMP.
Yeah, I really don't like the Sven pick here.
Well, last time they ran something like this, they did do the Miracle Magnus, and they had a Juggernaut for no tail.
Yeah,
same thing, same system.
Right.
So the Sven's for no tail.
So don't you guys think Jug would have worked better? It wasn't banned.
No, it wasn't.
They might have wanted the armor against Ladder, the War Cry. That's probably the biggest reason why they actually chose for that.
It's also an additional form of lockdown. Last time when they did this, they had a CM with the Juggernaut.
Yeah, with Phoenix Sven is better. Yeah, that's a very good point.
And MVP Phoenix this time, they do ban out the Magnus. They have been doing their homework. You know, this is their wombo combo. So it'll be really interesting to see what OG replaces the Magnus
and
with.
For MVP, what's their roaming hero? Ricky, Bounty, Tusk is also available. Maybe Tusk, do you like Tusk here? Charlie, maybe?
Not so much. It's like, I would like Tusk better against like a Beastmaster or something, but it's harder to save people into a Chrono.
It's pretty good against Elder Titan though.
Yeah, it is.
I like the Sigil versus the Sven as well.
That's true. I think it definitely has its uses. It's not bad by any means.
But it's also not great.
Yeah, I mean, you can also help initiate with Slardar, but yeah, it won't be a Tusk.
I like Lion here. They have so many melee heroes. It's just any disables that they can get is going to allow them to easily kite over OG.
It's just a different system though. They won't have a roaming support here, so maybe the bench can be a roaming support, but wouldn't be as effective as the other heroes we talked about.
Well, this time the two supports can move together.
Yeah.
It's not great.
It's not great, you know, like moving two together. So we'll see. Like for OG,
they can definitely zone Void though. Like Void can't go to lane against 3 stun heroes.
The greed is real, man. But they have a lot of damage.
And TA here has a great matchup against the Invoker.
Especially if it's a Quaspex Invoker.
They have nothing to really burn through refraction.
Yeah, they didn't have good refraction options.
In a lot of ways, this is a great TA game.
They do have a lot of disables though. So I think I would actually go for MVP again once more, despite them not doing too well in the first game.
Okay, alright.
Are you looking at me? What about Charlie? I'm not ready.
Hey, I went first last time, man.
I don't know if I'm ever going to be ready for this one. I like the Phoenix draft better, I think. But OG's, I don't know. I'm not confident.
Charlie, final word?
I mean, no, I don't think any of us are going to be confident about this pick. I think these two teams are incredibly evenly matched. You know, I'll ride or die with my panel brothers.
Right.
I'll pick MVP Phoenix.
Nice. Charlie's on board with the boys. He's riding and dying with them as we enter Game 2. OG 1-0 up already. Let's rejoin Merlini and Capitalist.
Very dominant game number 1 for OG, but we'll see what happens is see whether or not their wombo combo lineup is going to actually work out for them. Game number 2 of OG versus MVP Phoenix starts now. You're heading on into it, Ben? Your thoughts? Okay, now you get your opportunity to have your thoughts, Ben.
So Winter talked about the Quas Wex Invoker. I think Invoker works way better for MVP than, Moon. Not in a great spot.
Quick jump away with the time walk, he'll be okay.
Yeah, the Invoker is, you don't have to fight off like that much with Invoker because he's still scales very well into the mid and late game. Like last game they had Ember Spirit, he just doesn't farm that fast. He needs to get those first couple of kills. But Invoker, he's more than happy to just get a Midas and sit back, and it just felt like MVP was constantly under the mentality that they just had to fight on their side of the map, because they did. They had a Bounty Hunter, they had Ember Spirit, they just had all of these heroes that need to fight face to face.
It was the 1-2 Bounty Hunter that I felt like really pushed the draft, where MVP Phoenix were under such a time constraint and trying to force action. Now their lineup actually does scale a lot better mid to late game than they did last time around. But there is still that last pick of OG, the Templar Assassin. The panel was really favoring that one, particularly since we know that MVP Phoenix do prefer to go for the Quas Wex Invoker. This makes it all the stronger for Miracle here
Especially
in the mid
when MVP, they banned out the Earth Spirit, they don't have the Bounty Hunter, nor do they have the Riki. So there's not really any pressure coming Miracle's way, and he even is able to eat that ward.
Yeah, the early ward placed down by OG did scout a similar positioned ward from MVP Phoenix being placed, so Miracle gets a free 100 gold and some healthy regen off of that one. Meanwhile, you could see the top lane, they're actually going to go onto the Tidehunter and should be able to pop him here as a nice clap comes out. Great combination from OG punishing Forev on the Tide.
And that Stomp did a lot of damage.
Yes, it did. Stormbolt setting it all up. That Stomp actually does quite a bit when you're able to hit both the magical and physical damage shielding Stomp.
MP suffering pretty greatly in terms of CS and in health in the mid lane. This is just not a good matchup for him at all. I wonder if he will try and get the Exort for the Forge Spirits to try and pierce through that refraction, as well as have some sort of damage to win this last sit battle versus Miracle.
The silver lining for MVP Phoenix being, of course, that their bottom lane should be able to zone out Moon Meander's Faceless Void, at least okay for the first few levels. You just have to make sure that the lane doesn't actually push forward.
There are other two lanes that are winning so much, so as long as Moon keeps the supports from moving around, which is very difficult with the Lion, maybe the Venge, then he should be happy.
They've actually doubled up on range creep, so even Moon Meander is going to be able to get a pretty decent laning phase unless MVP Phoenix can get the right kind of pulls in.
Oh, and Crit just killed the Observer Ward on the top lane. It's really devastating for Forev.
So absolutely no vision left now for MVP Phoenix, as they're not going to be able to see potentially some of these rotations of the Elder Titan and Phoenix. And this is a Crit specialty as well. He doesn't actually have his level 2, so it looks like he's going for the Courier pickoff, and he may have actually timed it perfectly. Walking Courier is making its way past the tier 2, but unfortunately, he's going to get the information a bit too late, so can't chase it down.
And I wonder when MVP is going to go for the smoke timing. They do have a smoke on Lion, can smoke up himself and Dubu, but with Moon playing pretty aggressively on the bottom lane, Moon was just got some hits by Roach, but with Moon constantly down there, he can kind of warn his teammates if any of the supports are coming.
Rev gonna be hit once again. Oh, unfortunately that crit just not close enough to be able to land the Echo Stomp for the extra damage needed, and this lane will be giving all the experience over to the Tide. So Rev finally able to pick something up past his level 2. Meanwhile, Moon Meander is gonna be playing that off lane into the camp now. He did his job for the first few minutes, kept those supports down there, and is now going to try and pick up some levels for himself off of the offlane camp, but Febi's going to interrupt that one, actually takes the CS away from Moon, and gets half the experience as well.
Surprised Tidehunter hasn't gone to stack the Ancients a little bit more. It's just much safer for him. Right now, it just feels like he's always going to die.
Yeah, once he gets hit by one Stormbolt, most likely he's going to get hit with the full Sunray as well. But it does seem like he's going to be able to, kind of like the same idea you had for Moon Meander, keep the supports there rather than ganking up that mid lane. The difference is OG, they don't need to gank up mid. Templar Assassin's doing absolutely fine.
MP's doing very well. 16 versus 18 as a Quas Wex.
He's going to be hit by the stomp though. Miracle looking for the side blades to be able to finish off MP, but he quickly rotates to the right side and Miracle not able to get that second hit in.
That would have been sick if he could hit that side blades. Nice moves by MP, holding his own in his lane.
Yeah, as you said, the CS actually going
he's
pretty
doing
well
like
for himself.
Very, very well. This is probably the best that you can hope for as an Invoker versus the TA.
And he's going to have the completed phase boots here pretty quickly. A lot of the reason he's able to do so well in the CS is because he maximized his damage really early on. Straight null talisman into both of the damage components of phase boots before completing the actual boots themselves.
Yeah, that's a very smart play from MP. It's very tempting to get 1 point in Exhort, but it seems like they've already committed to the Quaswex Invoker before the crease even spawned.
And Forev, despite dying a couple of times, is able to pick up a decent amount of experience. He's level 4 compared to Moon Meander's level 3.5, so...
And a wraparound coming from Dubu, maybe looking to get a kill onto Moon. They just popped the Observer Ward, looking to get that kill into tower push.
Yeah, whenever the creep wave pushes like this, you always want to see if you can catch the offlaner. Unfortunately, not going to be there in time. QO barely missing out on the slithering crush that they would have been able to combo pretty damn well. They're actually going to give some support now to Moon Meander, make sure he can move forward and collect this experience. Crit is going to sit behind Moon Meander, and MVP Phoenix get aggressive like that again. They're going to go for the stomp. QO out of mana, and not going to be able to challenge much.
He will get that armlet up pretty early.
Mm-hmm. This does mean Forev's going to be really happy without the
MP.
Elder Titan MP almost dropping there, but does manage to barely get off the Ghost Walk in time. Miracle obviously not having the vision. Is he going to be able to finish him off?
MP dropped the Tornado EMP onto Miracle, but instead of turning around and running, he just went onto MP, almost killed him.
And he's got plenty of regen still with the bottle, as well as a healing salve still in his pocket for the Templar Assassins. So he's able to play that pretty aggressive game. And that is the one downside, right, of this phase boots first Invoker. It's the harassment potential of Miracle. That's the way he's really going to be able to keep up the pressure. But Quas does seem to be doing just enough to be able to keep MP in fighting shape. He's now going to back up, help Dubu clear through this small little medium stack.
I wonder what Sven's going to go for in terms of his item build. I don't know if getting the HOD is a huge priority for him, because TA can just do ancient stacks and stack them herself, and Armlet is far more popular at this point, and Armlet...
Forev going to be stoned up once again, does manage to get off the Anchor Smash. Doesn't matter though, that pure damage cutting right through the Kraken Shell. And now they're going to be able to put a lot of damage on this tier 1 tower. Meanwhile, Miracle spots out the courier, gets it for free. That's going to be wards down for an extra couple of minutes for MVP Phoenix. And that lack of vision may end up costing them, as the tier 1 tower, if it goes down in this top lane, this will free up a lot more space for the OG heroes to rotate around without MVP Phoenix having the knowledge.
Noto actually put 2 points in the Stormhammer, realizing that Tidehunter is just constantly sitting in the lane, and that little bit of extra magic burst helps a lot.
Yeah. Anything to threaten the Tide as much as they can. They can't let Forev come forward and bully these two constantly. There goes the stun. Sunray once again. Forev not quite level 6, doesn't have a stun to stop this one, but it looks like his full HP is going to be enough. Plus the fact that No-Tail did not have God's Strength this time around.
I think Armlet might be better for Sven, just to deal with the amp damage, having that plus armor.
It does take away a lot from what Sven is supposed to be, right? He's supposed to be this farming carry that is able to get really far ahead due to the nature of him quickly farming through stacks, and a lot of that does come through
Miracle
the Helmet
sitting
Dominator.
in mid, waiting for a double Mel Strike, perhaps on MP.
This could be close. He does have the quick reaction tornado ready to go. He's got to blow up the slap, doesn't actually manage to get the Melt Strike, and immediately the tornado follows up. MP is going to be slowed down, but not enough for Miracle to get even close to getting that kill.
It was a nice try. I actually saw him do this a lot more when TA was more popular. He would always try and sit around on cliffs and go for the double Melt Strike.
Back to your point about the Sven not being terribly farmed because of if he doesn't go for HOD, they do have the TA for massive damage output.
Chronosphere, they're going to try and catch out and kill QO with this one. The Sunray, everything else seems like it should be enough. He starts sprinting himself away, and it looks like the wand may be just enough. No, it's not going to be, as Icarus Dive comes through. And Fly is able to pick up the last hit there. Good setup there from OG, making use of the Chronosphere as soon as possible and punishing what we've seen from MVP Phoenix, really liking to be able to farm up and get that armlet onto the Slardar, which he does have now. And this actually may be a little bit of fortuitous timing here for MVP Phoenix because he has that. We've seen the way the last time MVP Phoenix ran the Slardar, they would freely rotate the Slardar before they had the Blink Dagger, and this may happen again as QO comes back to life.
And let's see, Invoker, looks like Urn is almost complete on him.
Yeah, they're actually, they put the Slardar up at the top lane and they're going to 4-man smoke from mid up to top to join that Slardar. But OG seem to have this read.
They just seem to survive. I think they have a lot of damage output as long as they survive in the team fights.
Yeah.
They have natural order to aid them, the minus armor from the TA.
Yeah, look
if they
at
want
that.
to focus on targets.
The scan.
Wow,
Could have scouted
perfect
this out
scan.
rotation perfectly. OG just seemed to, I mean, there is a lot to say about the way that MVP Phoenix switch up the aggressiveness of their style and make rotations that many other teams wouldn't. But it seems like OG do have the playbook on MVP so far.
And now they're going to do the big stack with Miracle and try and get the T1 in the meantime. And MVP, they're probably a little bit worried that OG might go for Roche at this point. From their point of view, they do have the minus armor on a TA. They probably don't know that she doesn't have a Blightstone right now, but it is very possible with their lineup.
Meanwhile, they're going to trade tier 1 for tier 1 with the Sven clipping away at that bottom lane. This does leave some free time for MP to be able to farm and push out the mid lane, but all in all, OG dodging the smoke is to their advantage.
In the quiet win on the side of MVP, it looks like Febby. Febby has 1850 gold. This might be a great Blink Dagger timing for him if he can leave this next fight unscathed.
Yeah, that may be something that actually catches OG by surprise.
Yeah, it'll come out possibly before the Slardars.
As OG are actually trying to set up some aggressive vision. Now, Tornado, EMP goes out, misses out on the Elder Titan though.
The Ancient stack with just so much gold. Fly almost level 6. Elder Titan with his 1 point of Earth Splitter. They are ready for the team fight.
Now, all they have to do is hold the right side, and they've got control of both their Ancients as well as Roshan. This is why you see OG taking so much control of the Radiant Jungle and setting up for a potential kill here on Phareth. They need the right kind of Chronosphere to be able to set this up, and they've got it perfectly. No Tail will be able to beat into the Tidehunter underneath the Chronosphere like that, but it's not quite enough. And now Phareth, he's gotten off the Anchor Smash, and they might just be able to pop Moon, who's completely out of mana. Phareth burning on the side, Moon battling up against MP with the amplified damage on him. Just a little bit more damage. Somebody right-click it, but no! He's making the escape away in MVP Phoenix. They've already lost 1, about to lose 2 if MP can't get away from Miracle. Bevy hoping to be able to get some mana. The Stormbolt comes out. Miracle's got the time, plus the Sunray to be able to take out MP. OG diving in deep against MVP Phoenix, but will score 2 more kills, and perhaps make it a third. Bevy, he thought he was going to be all over, but not over until Miracle picks up the triple. Maybe underneath the tier 2, has to back himself away. The Supernova covers his tracks though, and OG will be able to escape unscathed as they continue their streak of no deaths.
Nice play by the Vengeful Spirit, just barely outside the Chronosphere, and again, nice combo with the Tornado EMP, but I don't know if it's going to be enough.
MVP Phoenix knows there's a lot on cooldown here for OG, and they can try and fight this one, but OG comes storming in through the backline, and now the stomp, it hits on 2, and MVP are going to be left to die here as QO. Oh, and managed to get off the armlet toggle just in time. Crit managed to dodge the Tornado, though. Somehow OG keeping all their heroes alive. QO gets popped, and Febby underneath the tier 1 tower. Doesn't matter. OG will take it all.
These stomps are just destroying the team fight from MVP. It kind of halted the momentum that the Ravage was supposed to bring to them and turn around that fight.
How many times have we seen a hero from OG be able to escape from the team fight of just a sliver of HP? And that all just comes down to the laning phase. If it goes slightly better for MVP Phoenix, they at least get some trade-offs. But OG being far enough ahead, they're able to keep heroes like Moon alive. despite having no health and very little mana.
Yeah, the Sven and the Faceless Void are just meat shields for Miracle. And with that, very confident heading into the Roche Pit. Don't even need any minus armor from the TA to do this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And quick Aegis now for Miracle, I'm guessing, is he could just go all out aggression from here, pick up a faster Desolator if he wants to, alongside the Blink Dagger. Nope, they're actually going to give it to the Sven instead.
And I guess I jinxed Febby. He's still sitting at 1,800 gold.
Yeah, you really did. Unfortunately, it just wasn't there for that last fight. Could have made a big difference. They're going to start clearing through some ancient stacks. Febby's going to try and take some of these last hits, it looks like, for the Blink Dagger.
And I think most of the time I personally prefer the Blink over the Mech. A lot of the times on a Tide, unless you have really good tower siege, but with their lineup, they can't siege towers at all. They need to get the jump on OG. They need to be able to blow up a couple of key heroes, Elder Titan, Phoenix, Faceless Void in particular, before they get off their ultimates. And if he just has a headdress, it's not going to be possible for them.
Right.
Unless they have Blinks on Slaughter in line, which are not quite out yet.
Yeah, QO hasn't actually had quite the game that he was hoping to in that safe lane ever since it came in from the Chronosphere. He's been down ever since with just that armlet. OG, meanwhile, they've got some vision inside of their own jungle that they have to be afraid about if No Tail farms up too far forward. MVP Phoenix may be able to find the gank, but they are actually playing so defensively around him right now.
They're too close to their Blink Daggers. They don't want to take a fight right now, or anything that could be even potentially bad.
Understandable for MVP Phoenix OG. It just seems like the game plan for them. Every single time MVP Phoenix are off map, if we don't see them, we stay grouped up, we wait for them to initiate, and we'll counter it. That being said, as you pointed out, MVP Phoenix want to be able to wait for their Blink Daggers, and they'll get them by doing some neutrals.
So now they're eyeing the TA. They know that Sven has the Aegis. He has a Blink Dagger, so he's going to be able to dish out a fair amount of damage, but TA is their primary target.
And one of the squishier glass cannons in the game. MVP Phoenix just need the right kind of initiation, but OG are always putting these meat shields, as you pointed out, on the front lines. No Tail and Crit. And even our offlaner Moon Meander is actually making for a decent hero to soak up damage. Beating away at the tier 1 towers. Seems like they've got this one well in hand, as MVP Phoenix still staying around that mid lane. A lot of vision there from OG is actually scouting out these rotations, thanks to the ward just in front of that tier 2.
Febby just needs 50 more gold or 75 more gold until he can get that Blink Dagger. Does not want to take any chances. He can get probably one shot by Miracle now that he has DD in his bottle.
Yeah. OG, even more vision being set up near the secret shop area as they're going to go for 2. And MVP Phoenix, again, still not trying to fight. They complete the Midas. They've got one of the Blink Daggers in hand on the Slordar. Mech is going to be pretty greatly delayed. They do have Lion just now picked up his Blink Dagger. I see nothing left, really, to stop MVP Phoenix from looking for this fight. They've been off map for so long. OG still maintaining a very disciplined front here, as Miracle's going to be one to scout this out. The smoke does pop, he immediately blinks himself away, and OG start responding in kind, but QO still manages to find a jump on a Moon. Is it going to be enough, though? They try and blow him up. The Sunray over the top is keeping Moon alive, and now the Lion instantly dies to Miracle, and he's going to look for more with the double damage. QO doesn't stand a chance. The rest of MVP Phoenix being cleared out by No Tail, as he makes sure there's no push forward by them for Rev. If he wants to be able to survive through this, may even have to blow the Ravage, but he knows it's not going to be worth it.
Wow, Miracle with a big blazer, just sitting there, melded, popping the smoke, and then backing off. And Moon kind of got caught unawares because they didn't know that they had the Observer and Sentry on the high ground to scout him out, but Miracle did too much damage in that fight. Tezo now complete.
Yeah, fly with the preemptive Sunray as well, keeping Moon Meander alive.
And Crit's positioning has been really good. He's always just sitting really far back in the trees, hard to find an MP.
Free kill there, Chronosphere with a Sunray. The Invoker burns.
I didn't think this game would be more lopsided than game number 1.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. 0-14, 18 minutes in, 12,000 gold lead, 14,000 in golds, 12,000 experience.
And a desperation smoke from MVP right at their T3 tower.
QO providing interference here, does manage to get an amp damage up for some information. They're going to move left instead, try and catch Miracle, but he managed to make the blink away first. They just don't have the instant initiation they need to be able to catch a highly technical player like Miracle with the blink dagger.
And the timing is also a little obvious. It's right when the Aegis is about to respawn, which is a very common smoke timing.
So in that case, OG sitting behind their tier 1 tower, waiting for MVP Phoenix to make the first move, because OG will always clear out neutrals a bit more efficiently thanks to the natural clear through of both Sven and Templar Assassin. Crit even can push out some lanes with relative safety. Now that he's got a Yule Scepter, he is going to be hit by the crush, but he's tanky enough and still has that utility item in his back pocket if things get nasty.
And the gold lead is a nasty 16,000.
It just keeps on plummeting down and down. All right, smoke number 2, MVP Phoenix.
TA
wrapping up.
Sitting in meld. They do have a dust.
Is Miracle going to scout this out again? The smoke's going to pop. Miracle, blink away. Twice in a row, Miracle spoils MVP Phoenix's attempt at a smoke initiation.
And Radiant just uses scan near the Dire Secret Shop, so they know that there's a couple of heroes in that area.
Honestly, OG, they're just making it look like it's too easy to read MVP's movements.
Yeah.
The BKB now up for the Sven. At this point, we're not even looking at OG dodging fights necessarily, as they have such a gigantic net worth advantage that they can fight into MVP Phoenix.
It just seems like they know exactly what MVP's move is going to be next.
Yeah, exactly. Now it's their turn to be on the offensive. MVP Phoenix trying to do some Ancients of their own. OG have plenty of initiation though, thanks to Moon. They're going to be able to make the jump, manage to get the Stormbolt. Baby's going to be first. Now they've got the Chronosphere on it too. The Sunray over the top. Miracle with the double. And MVP Phoenix still struggling to find a single kill in this game as we push past 20 minutes. And OG wanted to make this a flawless victory as they try and end it a little bit earlier as they push down tier 2 in mid.
And just excellent vision provided by the TA traps and the Observer Ward placed by the supports. MVP have nowhere to hide. They use all their smokes trying to move offensively onto OG side of the map, and now they don't have any smokes. OG can pick and choose MVP's heroes as they will.
Moonmeander not going to give up this tier 2 as a free trade-off. Will TP himself up there solo to stop the Invoker's push, and this is what's really dangerous. The fact that Moonmeander feels safe enough to be able to challenge Invoker solo like that and stop his push means that OG will just claim more and more map control as they rotate the rest of their heroes down to the bottom lane. Start surrounding the Roshan pit. It's not quite yet time, but it will be the next big objective for OG, it seems.
And MVP have one aggressive ward close to Dire's T2 tower, but aside from that, they don't have any eyes on OG. They probably know that they're just farming the heck out of their Ancients, but they can't do anything about it.
Yeah. Getting a smoke into that area is particularly rough when you have the 2 tier 1s on Dire side still up. Right, there's no entrance or wraparound behind that ancient area that you can get to with the tier 1 at bottom lane still up, so MVP Phoenix are just kind of struggling to find any ground to hold on to, as they're even losing their own ancients, No-Tail clearing through that.
And the longer the delay, the more BKBs are going to be up on OG, one already up on No-Tail. Almost a second one completed on the TA, just needs 250 gold for that. And all their heroes are pretty useless against BKB aside from Slardar, but he can't do it on his own.
Certainly not. Not with this kind of farm, only 7k net worth on him. We're close to the 13k that both Templar Assassin and Sven are holding on to. Gonna try and chip away at this tier 1 for now, but you never know when OG's initiation is gonna come through. MVP Phoenix posturing like they should be able to counter initiate, but I just don't have the faith.
Maybe they can catch Moon as he blinks in with a quick Hex.
Yeah, Febby counter blinks in, tries to get the Hex off before the Chronosphere animation completes.
The only problem is that with that is that Crit can come in with an immediate Astral Spirit in the Stomp, and without any BKBs, they can't prevent that from happening.
And MVP Phoenix not able to play the follow-up there with no Blink Dagger on the Tidehunter as he does go for the Mac.
Yeah, I think at this point he probably should have just committed to the Blink Dagger.
Yeah. MVP Phoenix, knowing that their jungle is pretty much open to OG at any point in time, are going to invade into the Dire jungle themselves. Maybe try and get some aggressive vision up for now.
And they think they're moving into OG's blind area, but there is a trap right next to Febby.
Meanwhile, Roshan time for OG, as they've got plenty of physical damage and minus armor to do it quick. And this doesn't even allow MVP Phoenix, it seems, to be able to, well, no, they will be able to get that tier 2 at top lane. OG don't really care about it though. They'll get a tier 2 of their own at bottom as they start setting up for what is probably going to be a high ground push. There's not much that they really need in these team fights past the BKBs to be able to win against MVP Phoenix. As long as they don't get caught out by the Ravage or the initiation of Febby, they're good to go.
And as backup, they have the hand of Midas on the Phoenix in case someone tries to get heavily focused down later. Maybe he can pick up a Scepter, but that's talking about Waylay. I don't know if MVP can even survive until then.
Yeah, you're talking about 35 minutes plus when I'm not even sure if MVP Phoenix are going to be able to stop this one push uphill from OG. Scott Strength come forward instantly, hexed up. Nice play by Febby. Tornado EMP, BKB is going to be used by No Tail. Now they turn towards Forev, trying to force out that Ravage. Well, the BKBs are still up. He doesn't even use it. Instead, he holds on to it as he's going to buy back and try and go round 2. OG can try and back away if they want to, but they're going to stay and fight with No Tail holding the line there. Managed to get a Stormbolt and a 3-man Chronosphere from Moon. Their Ravage is going to be able to zone back some of the heroes, but they still have to follow from Crit. Long range counter initiation. He's managed to hit the ultimate just on time. Mass buybacks now for an MVP Phoenix as they have yet to pick up a single kill. They just don't look to it all. Crit, he might even die, but the ult scepter goes down. QO can't even get him as OG swarm into him. Crit hiding in the trees. MP wants it bad. He's going to look for it with the EMP. Still not enough, and the GG goes down. A flawless game from OG as they move on in game 2. What a powerful performance.
It's been a long time since I've witnessed a shutout in high-level pro Dota.
Unbelievable. MVP Phoenix were moving into this series looking so good, having beat Liquid 2-0 like that, but now it's OG's turn to get the 2-0. They walk out onto the stage feeling very good about themselves. They put on